This is Bill Gross. Welcome to the LARealestateInvesting.com podcast. We get together every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern to talk about all things investing, real estate, whether you're an investor, wholesaler, real estate agent, vendor, even attorneys. Those that don't wear Giants gear are welcome on this call. Vendors, lenders, escrow, property managers. As long as you want to increase your income and or wealth through investing in real estate, you're in the right spot. Just a reminder, I didn't put the reminder up. Just a reminder that this week, our namesake event is going to be live. It's free in the Culver City area of Los Angeles. There's a wrong event. Okay, don't go. That's what we're on call now. Where is the, oh my gosh, Larry, hold on a second. LAREIC.com is the event, our Real Estate Vendors Expo. It's we call it Culver City. It's technically Los Angeles on Motor Avenue at the Iman Center. We have about 250 guests. We have about 50 vendors. It's free. Parking's free. Get there before 6 o'clock. I'll be there. I'm the official live streamer. And then at 6:30, we'll have a special speaker, Kathy Fetke, who I actually interviewed on my YouTube channel, a fantastic lady, invests out of state. She'll go through those details. Again, that's this Thursday night, September 8th. She's at 6:30, but the Vendors Expo starts before that. Hope you can make it. And if you do make it there, please come by and say hi. You probably won't be able to miss me because I'll be there live streaming and probably bugging you to interview you if I can. That said, I'm really excited to have today, not just somebody who knows something about real estate, not just a practitioner, not just an attorney, for example, not that we're knocking attorneys on this call today, but really a professional lady who has her own live stream event that talks about, goes into a little more detail than we do on multifamily investing. She's a lender, she's an investor, and an expert in the subject of multifamily real estate. Julianne Peterson. Julianne, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you. I am thrilled to get to meet your folks here and talk about multifamily. Real estate is where it's at.
Amazing. So I can see from behind you, your fancy graphic, Old Capital, Commercial Real Estate, Debt and Equity. Just give us a little bit of background on you. Where'd you grow up and then how'd you get into real estate initially?
Yeah, so I grew up outside of the great state of California in Chicago. And I couldn't wait to get out of Chicago and go to California and move to Los Angeles, actually, and bought my first property in San Pedro.
Wow.
I was 22 years old and I was selling bicycles, and I was a sales rep for Nishiki, Haro.
Wow.
Cycle Pro. Anyway, my clients lost their businesses when the riots came by, and I said, I got to sell my house. I gave my house to a friend of mine for $4,000. It was a $250,000 home, and walked away. Said, please, you got any money? He goes, no, all I have is $4,000. I said, I'll take that. He said, I'll make the payments, and just sold that house no more than 3 years ago, after 30 some years.
For how much?
And probably around 400,000 or 500,000. He had, refied. But anyway, got into single family, and then went and ended up selling that and buying assets in Chicago, going back to Chicago, getting into multifamily. Left Chicago, went to Denver, was long distance managing my multifamily. It took me 11 years to make $50,000 in Chicago. Had great cash flow, but terrible appreciation. So I said, I'm going to San Diego. I brought my assets over to San Diego, made a bunch of money, and I said, now I'm done. I'm done in this small 20 units I had, multifamilies. And I said, I'm done. I'm going to go passively invest my money, and ticked. So I've got that tick information on how to syndicate a tick. And now I'm a general partner, limited partner, and I'm a lender on multifamily. So I have experience in so many different areas that I'm hoping that I can be helpful to your folks here.
I'm sure you can, not to mention just you're fun to listen to. The energy is contagious. And when people ask me what's it take to be successful in real estate, the first thing is energy and enthusiasm. You have that in spades. For those who don't know, what is a TIC, tenant in common? Can you explain like what the unique parts about that is?
Yeah, so a TIC is you have to take your money that you made in one asset and you have to take it into a like kind into another asset. So I've been in 7 TICs where I took my money, I sold that property, went into another one. TIC, tenants in common. It's otherwise known as a 1031 exchange. Okay. But go ahead.
But not all 1031 exchanges, not all properties you invest in would be suitable for 1031 exchange. You have to have a certain liability. Hence, that's why you're doing a tenant in common as opposed to, say, a limited partnership or some sort, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you could also you want to make sure that you're covering what your liabilities are. Okay, so of course, I was taking my 1031 into a larger asset, into a asset that's in Texas. I did it twice. And I obviously took on more liability than what I had in my assets in San Diego. And that qualified me. Now I own and I stand next to the owners of this property. I do get my limited partnerships. I get a vote, but that's it. I like that. My husband said, I am done. I'm hanging up my tool belt. He didn't want to do any more weekends. He didn't want to have to, get on top of the roof. He was done.
Done?
And
Was he done? I'm not clear on that.
he was done.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm a husband. I need to hear it a few times before it sinks in.
I had to say, okay, we're going to stay together. I will try and figure this out. So I'll get you out. My passion is real estate. And what I love about this business is there are ways that you can stay active. Okay, so I took out my active in my own assets, and I became a general partner, found a deal, have partners in this deal, and I'm still active. So I can get the same kind of experience and same kind of money that I was getting as an owner operator. So there's something for everybody.
The TIC's a little different for investors who think they're looking for a purely passive play. Because in my experience, I had a client once who had 1031 exchange. They wanted to roll the money over, but they were thinking they're more of a limited partner, which they were limited.
Yeah.
But as a TIC, you also have liability, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. And so I think in many cases, you have to do a full due diligence package on your finances, tax returns and such. Whereas, limited partnership, they, once they qualify you, either as accredited or non-accredited, they just want your check. If it clears, you're good. If it doesn't, you're going to jail. But if you're a TIC, you really have to stand up and be part of the financing package and sign on the loan and take responsibility. There's advantages. You might get a better return for your investment or be offered better investments in exchange. But like with everything, if there's better return, there's probably also a higher risk or obligation. Is that a fair assessment?
That is true. Now, I'll tell you this, that we were, Freddie was one of my TICs that I did, and nowhere in the small print does it say, I have to qualify for net worth, liquidity, and experience. Nowhere does it say that. Until we closed our deal, and the next day, Freddie came back and said, no, sorry, you have to qualify in all of these areas. So you have to be really careful of who you're with and how much you are bringing to the transaction, because you may not be able to qualify, right? So that was interesting. Found that very interesting.
After closing, so what happened?
After closing.
You must have some great stories, Julianne. So I'm just...
Well, here's the deal. We do a lot of business with Freddie, right? So
Freddie is Freddie Mac.
Freddie Mac, which
Freddie's
is
not
agency.
a guy. There's
no that's
person.
Right?
Freddie is like
this
huge bureaucratic monster in Washington, D.C. or Virginia, I guess. It's in headquartered Virginia.
So it's a government, right? It's a
quasi-government agency. It is and it isn't, right? So that's Freddie Mac you're talking about. Go ahead, Freddie. Right. Your good friend, Freddie. The rest of us is Freddie Mac. Go ahead.
Yes. So Freddie Mac says in their guidelines that you, on all agencies, whether it's Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, you have to have your net worth greater than your loan amount. You have to have experience. So that's 2 years of experience with 3 to 5 transactions in multifamily. And you have to have liquidity, 9 months for Freddie and 10% from Fannie, 10% of the loan amount. So as a TIC, I come in, I've got my money here. I got my money. I want to buy into this deal. And Freddie says, no, we can't do that. And we went back to Freddie and said, well, wait a minute. There's nothing in the guidelines that say I need, as the TIC, need all of these. So we went up the ladder and said, show us. And they said, okay, fine. You're right. It's not here. We closed the deal. Like I say, the next day comes everybody, oh, if you're in a TIC, you have to have this, this, and this. So, very, very interesting. So make sure if you're doing a TIC that you have all of that covered and before you get involved. Listen, TICs are difficult as 1031s are difficult because you have timing. You have 45 days. You have to identify. Okay. You don't know if that's going to close or not. So you have to get 2 or 3 of these on your list in 45 days and you tick them off. Okay, that one didn't work. Okay, got to go to my second one. Okay, that didn't work. What I did is I said, I want to sell my assets in a year. And I went to syndicators and I said, do you have something coming up? Yes, we do. Okay, here's my timing. Here's your timing. This is what I'm bringing. And we married it really well and we were able to close it. That is the challenge. Not all people are able to do this kind of transaction, but it's something to be thinking about.
Well, I think that's true with 1031s in general, let alone TICs, and the first person I ever heard argue against 1031s was Grant Cardone. And he said that to him, the key to investing successfully is the investment. You want to find the best deals you possibly can. And the problem with 1031s is that you have to identify 3. He says it's hard to find one, let alone a second and a third. And what he always found was he was settling for the third, which he really didn't want when it came time to close. And he ended up just saying, from now on, our deals have to make sense without that. And if you find a 1031, great. But if not, we won't. And so it's an interesting debate. But it sounds like everything else, with the proper work and diligence, you can find your way into it. It's just, you have to have a plan B.
Well, listen, I'm not here to plug my Zoom at 8, but.
Oh, please. No, hold on. Please plug away. That's why we have you here.
So listen, everybody, Zoom at 8 every Tuesday night, Zoom at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're in California, so it's 5. It's right when everybody's leaving the office. Tell your loved one, I'm going to be late. If you're, at home, tell them, get the dinner started. Tonight, we're going to be talking about alternatives to 1031 because it's not for everybody, right? You may miss the time frame. You might not find that asset, just like, Bill said. So really, if you're looking for alternatives, check out our Zoom at 8 tonight and every Tuesday night where we are networking and learning with professionals in this industry. And that's how I met Bill.
It's a phenomenal website. I'll just share with the audience, if you know me, I start my day, I'm ready to go at 8 o'clock. I'm up and running on something. And I work hard, usually till 5 o'clock at night, and like to end. And I take a break in the middle of the day and like to end at 5 o'clock, plan my social life after that. But I go on her call because now usually I'll walk while listening to the call, being part of the call, because it's so informative. You have such good guests and you're in the business. You're like up to your elbows in grease and parts and stuff's flying. You're in the deals and you talk to people you do deals with. And so that's why I really want to do so you to everybody. So how would somebody find, I'm looking Zoom at 8. I know I have the Zoom link, but you want people to register. So how would somebody get into your Zoom at 8 call if they want?
Yeah, so everybody's on Facebook, right? So
Yes.
Facebook, go to your link or your search, put Zoom at 8. Zoom, ZOOM, AT, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Here it is.
I'm so glad, Bill, that you said that you were out walking, because I didn't know what that heavy breathing was. So thank you for telling me that. That is awesome. Appreciate that.
Well, that was one day you were looking so good. I just couldn't control myself. Did I just say that? I didn't really say that. But anyhow.
Do we need a breakout room?
Jack, and you're an attorney, Jack. Really, you're an officer of the court. That's not appropriate behavior. Okay, so yeah, I will say this: not only do I enjoy her call, but I've met people on her call that I've subsequently met and go to their calls because they share so much in different little niches along the way, in this product niche or this type of investor or this type of coach, and she really gets. I think if you want to learn about multifamily investing, and I'm saying this, I have a call that I host on Wednesdays at 2 on multifamily investing, really for beginners. While Julianne does address beginners, and you're welcome to go on, and she's going to make you feel comfortable, these are like some monsterish people who are in her rooms. They're doing a bunch of deals. It's going to be a little intimidating. But if you really want to learn the business, you want to learn from experts and pros. And she has that. So I put in the chat box the link in Facebook.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
Feel free. Yeah, no, of course. Okay, so let's talk about... I'm just checking. So if everybody on the call is meant to be participative, besides just making fun of me or making snide remarks about my heavy breathing.
Heavy breathing, yes.
You're welcome to ask a question. Raise your hand in the Zoom link or type in the chat box, put a question, and I'd be glad to bring you in and participate. And just know that in everything, real estate included, the more you give, the more you get, the more you participate, the more money you make. That's just how it works. So, John, what do you see as the common thread between people who I know you come across like I do? People say, I want to, but they don't, and they finally break through and make that first investment. What do you see as a common thread that helps people kind of break through that barrier or that fear or whatever's holding them back?
Listen, it's determination by all means. I want to do this. This is important to me. I see the reasons why I want to get into real estate. Mostly it's because, right, we've got tax deductions. We've got, long-term debt. Agency is an amazing product to put on these assets that you put your money in and you wait. Okay. It's the people that get into this that are for get rich quick. That's not what we're talking about here, friends. I'm telling you, the people that got into COVID, that found themselves in an empty room, stuck, said, I want to be an investor. And they jumped in, which is great. And many people got in not knowing, really being educated and figuring out, how do I do this? And I think some of those people that got in, who used some of our debt, which is bridge lending, who hadn't been in for a while, didn't realize that these are cycles that we're in. And we're in a kind of a difficult, interesting cycle right now. They're going to find themselves in 12 months that are going to say, hey, I need a capital call from my investors, but I am really uncomfortable going to my investors and saying, I need some money. And I think what's going to happen is there's going to be pressure from the lenders. Hey, listen, we put bridge loans on these deals with no rate caps. That's like an insurance policy. We started out at 0.5% on SOFR. And you know what it is now? It's 2.29 today. And it's going to go to 3.3. So we think. And that's over the next 3 to 4 months.
Well, Fannie Mae fixed rates went from 2.75 to today. We're 6.25 today. So,
oh yeah. And
if it just stays there, that would be okay. But you don't know.
You don't know. And these people that were paying $24,000 a month in mortgage are now paying $56,000 a month in mortgage.
Ouch.
They didn't see this. They don't have any rate cap, which is your insurance policy. They don't know how to manage this property. And so be looking, building your relationships with brokers, with owners to say, can I get you out? How can I help you? If you have a lot of money, maybe you could give them a loan for 10% for $1 million, and you take your GP shares as well. There's going to be a lot of people waving the white flag. Please help me. I'm done. I need your help.
Right. And just to be clarify, what you're talking about bridge financing is something that somebody borrowed to acquire property and or do value adds with the idea that they would just refinance once it's done and they would cash out and make a fortune. And all that works out unless rates jump from, say, 2.75 to 6.25, which, that's exactly what happened. We didn't account for that. Now we have this extra monthly expense. How do we manage that? And all those deals, the cash flow great at 2.75, don't cash flow so well at 6.25.
Not so well.
And so what percentage of investors do you think, or I should say syndicators, bought interest rate lock caps versus those that didn't? I would think less than
I don't know
majority.
the percentage, quite frankly, but in the early months, right? Maybe 24 months ago, you didn't need them.
Didn't need it. Everything's went down.
And those that did put it on, they put 1%. That's great. We're good. And then it was 1.5, and then 2.5. Now we're at 3%, meaning it's kind of like a deductible. You just have to keep paying. Oh, I got the cheapest insurance product on my car, but I have $20,000 in deductible. That's kind of what it's like.
Right.
So you're not covered, and that's the struggle. That's where there's going to be failure in the streets.
So do you see, as a result of that, syndicators now kind of seeing that they're not there yet because they might still have 6 months or a year to finish, but they see that train coming down, and are they starting to prepare for it? Do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that they are preparing for it. And what we're seeing now is, okay, how are we going to transition into agency financing? Or are we going to sell it? If we're selling it, we may have to take a loss, or, expectations for investors may be less than what we thought it would be because there's not the cash flow. And if we are going agency, what does that look like? Because in order to get into an agency, we need to be at 65-70% LTV. All right. We sized it thinking back a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that we were going to get a 75% loan to value agency loan at 4.5%. So that is where it's a struggle, right?
So they have to raise 5 or 10% capital to keep the deal from breaking, and they're going to have to find a way and make the cash flow work, and that will affect the yield. And so the golden goose in some regards, and yet that's the opportunity. I think the other thing I would say to anybody who's newer to this is pay attention now, learn now. When those deals come to the market, there'll be a chance, if you know what you're doing, who the good investors are, who the good syndicators are, who the good lenders are. Any good lenders in the house? Just real quick, raise your hand.
Me. Yes.
Good lenders. And good lenders, I think, also introduce you to good investors and good syndicators. That's part of why, frankly, as fun as it is to talk to you and listen to you, the real value you bring is your connections, your Rolodex.
I do this all day long. I see investors all day long. I see their deals, right? I know them. I see what their successes are, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what was really interesting. We didn't talk about this, but on my own deal, we ran into a capital raising challenge. We're at the end of the year. We got COVID. We've got, bonus depreciation. Everybody has already put their money into deals. And here we are, we're trying to raise money. We need another $5.5 million on our deal.
Let me see if I have it real quick. Hold on, I'll check. $5.5 million.
$5.5 million.
And
you don't have it. And we're closing. And so I said, okay, I'm going to call some of my friends. Okay. And I was able to capital raise, first time I'd ever capital raised. I was able to bring in $5.5 million.
Wow.
And what I recognized is, hey, I do have a lot of people that I'm daily working with that I didn't realize I could call upon, and they would, of course, want to get involved with our deal in Houston. And but here's the thing: when you're going in business with somebody, make sure you run all sorts of traps. Who are they? What's their track record? have they said what they said they're going to do with other groups? Do your due diligence by all means, seriously. And if you're new at this, first, two things I say: get educated, listen, get into a group, and number two, invest in a deal. Take your hard-earned money and invest in a deal and learn from that syndicator.
Yeah.
How do they communicate with me? Are they giving me monthly updates? Are they giving me quarterly? What do I like? Well, listen, I've been an operator for 32 years. I want to know my stuff every month. What's going on? So that's who I invest in. I try and invest with people that talk to me on a monthly basis. And if that's important to you got to go find somebody that does the same. I want to feel important. Somebody's got my money. I want to feel important to them every month. So again, find partners, get educated, and invest in deals. That's really, really important going forward if you're going to do anything in multifamily, but real estate as well. I mean, if you're doing single family, it's a kind of a different approach, right? I mean, that's
Totally
you're on your own. You're on your own boat. And here's the deal. I was too strong-headed. I kept trying to get into multifamily. And I would say, oh no, I'm doing this by myself. They say, well, you don't have enough money. Yeah, I can do this. No, go away. And I said that I never want to treat clients like that because I've been in your shoes. I want to say, let's see how we can put this together. I've got syndicators that can help you. If you find a deal, I can try and bring somebody to help you get that deal done. Nobody helped me. And then I finally had to say, okay, I got to go find some partners to get this done. And you need to do the same.
The teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
Is there a position in the industry for people who raise capital for other people's projects where they maybe come from a business where they have people, high net worth friends, clients, associates, and they might have $5.5 million of extra money when you add them all together? And what do people do that get paid?
So you're asking me about a co-GP position, I think is what you're asking for.
Well, that sounds like a little more authority. I'm talking about somebody who's strictly just on raising funds, more like a capital raising
so there's
salesperson.
a couple, right? You have to do it legally. Okay. We're not a broker dealer. Do not be saying, hey, I want to get paid for this. That's broker dealer. No. You have to be a co-GP, co-general partner on a deal. So you're doing something in the transaction. You're managing the communication with that $5 million of people's money. You're participating in it. So you're going to get a little bit of general partnership. And that was the other thing that happened in COVID. All these people, again, who were working 9 to 5, didn't have anything to do, but had a lot of people's money. They educated themselves and figured out, hey, I got some really, really rich friends. And so they bring them to us or to, deals, and they say, hey, I've got $5 million. Can I get into the deal with you? And what can I do? What is my role going to be? And that's how you get into these deals. If you say, hey, I don't know, I'm not very good at underwriting. That's okay. Learn the basics and then start to talk to your friends. Hey, I am working on a deal that is looking for $5 million. You need to be accredited investor, and we can talk about accredited investors, but you're giving them the opportunity to invest and get a return, whether that's a preferred return or a cash on cash return, and you're providing them that opportunity. That's a way to do this.
And so you just negotiate some sort of a split with the other general partner, whatever that is. That's up to them. And it has to pencil out, because if you're getting paid too much, there's not enough return for the investors to see as an attractive investment. So you have to kind of balance out what you're doing.
I would say on average, we usually see about 30% of the general partnership go towards your co-GPs.
Got it.
Okay. So if you've got a 70-30 split, 30, you take the 30 and you make it 100, 30% of that 100 would go towards capital raising efforts.
Got it. So maybe 10% of the 30.
Yeah.
Very good. So if you would give us a definition real quick of, I think I know the answer, but I'd rather hear it from a professional, the difference between accredited investors and unaccredited or non-accredited investors.
So accredited investors have several different requirements. One, you're worth $1 million or more without your home. So your home in California can be a shoebox and worth $1 million. That doesn't work for your accreditation. So get rid of that. And if you have assets that are over $1 million, then you're accredited. And you can invest in deals where it's called a 506C. That is the SEC filing a category of that opportunity. 506C, you could then go and invest in those. Or you make $200,000 by yourself or $300,000 in income a year between you and your spouse. And that's for the last 2 years.
I like the one. If you're a single man, you only have to make $200,000. If you're a married man, you have to make $300,000 because you need $100,000 extra so your wife doesn't bother you, so you can invest in the property.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Or vice versa in our case. So yes.
Okay. There you go. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to. It's a little real for me the other way, but I appreciate that's how it is for a lot of our friends too. Good for you. You go, girl, as Melissa would say. Okay. A little girl power. And I'm a father of a daughter who's a businesswoman, so I get that. It's important. Okay. So, hey, by the way, anybody else on the call, feel free, if you have questions, put your hand up in the Zoom, put a question in the chat box. Love to have you participate. I could talk to Julia for hours. I don't know if you know that, but really, she's just a barrel of laughs. But it's meant to be educational. I know we'll learn more when we participate. So feel free to jump in if you have some questions. I'd love to share with you. So we talked about people kind of just getting determined to get started. It's just more a matter of the emotion. When people get in and make the wrong choices, I'm sure you see that. They either come to you, so Shane says, is assets worth $1 million and $200,000? I think the answer is either or. You either have to have $1 million or more of assets, or you can income qualify, which is $200,000 individual, or $300,000, which is if you're
for the
married.
last 2 years.
And Joyce says I'm right, so I'm right. That's good to know. Thank you. I need that approval. For 2 years, right? It's average over 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about people who you see who fail. They come to you with a deal that makes no sense at all, and you want to say, what the heck are you thinking about? Where did you get this deal? Or you see people who have deals that fall apart and lose money. What if anything is common amongst those people?
Okay, so there's a lot of dreamers out there, right? And dreaming is good, but you want to use your time wisely. So if you find a deal, great. The question that comes from my side is, how are you going to get this deal done? Do you have money? No, I don't, but I have an investor who has money. Great. Has that investor done anything in multifamily? Nope. Going to have to go find a person who has done deals in multifamily. Okay. I love the fact that you have somebody that can help you, but you have to have the right people. Okay. And so when you're putting together your group of investors, your team, okay, I'm on your team because I'm a lender. You need me. You need an attorney. You need an insurance broker. You need a plumber. You need a property manager. Those are all your team members. But the people that are on your general partnership could be a person that can bring $30 million in net worth. Awesome. Okay. But if that $30 million person has never signed on a multifamily property, you got to go find someone else. So here's my question to you. Go find somebody that has both of those, that has the 30 million and the experience, because why? You're going to pay two people instead of paying one. You want to make your team as concise and small as possible. So instead of finding the deal first, go figure out where you're going to be buying And who's going to support you in that role? Okay, that's going to be your investor. So that's what we're going to talk about. And you say, I have nobody. I can maybe find somebody for you. But just like anything, do you think you might not like that person? You may want to talk to them on Saturdays at 4:00 in the afternoon, and they say, no, that's my family time. That's not a good partner for you. Okay, so it is critical to find the right partner. And in doing so, we're going to then ask for a personal financial statement. How many of you guys have done personal financial statements? They are tough, you guys. They take a lot of time. Get started today, because if you find the deal tomorrow, you got to hand me that personal financial statement. And a schedule of real estate owned. Write that down. I need a personal financial statement and a schedule of real estate. And if we're going to be going into a bank and we're going to get a bank financed deal, I'm going to need 3 years of your tax returns. So
Personal
make
and
sure,
corporate.
yeah, both. But as corporate, you're probably going to be starting a new business, right? So you don't have corporate returns. You're going to be starting a new LLC. So you're not going to have corporate returns. But we want to look in your underwear and see what you have done.
Whoa, that's a little personal.
Yes, I'm getting personal. I got to see that if I'm giving you the money, you're going to be able to pay me back.
What if you go commando style? No, just kidding.
That's it. That is a problem. That's a problem.
So this is where you as a lender become, I see you play the role almost as a quarterback for some people come to you with a couple pieces, but they're missing a couple pieces, and you put those deals together. Is that your role then, or is that a role you seek to play?
That's the role I have taken, right?
Because most lenders don't. Most lenders are like,
no.
Package isn't ready. No, please come back when you're ready. Thank you. Next.
And you know what? I'm too busy. And because I'm going to play my golf over there. And you know what? I just got out of college and I'm wearing the blue suit and the brown shoes, and I've never invested in anything.
Right.
When you deal with me in Old Capital, I'm going to give you what I know, what I've been through, who I know, and I'm going to help you find the right partners. Now, you got to do a little work yourself here, okay? I can't do it all for you. And that's why you need to educate yourself and get some partners.
One partner that I got serious about, my son-in-law was an accountant at Ernst Young, and he's now have a tax firm of a wealth management company. He used to be on me about getting a professional bookkeeper and just getting my finances put together like a grown-up. And it's amazing because I have a monthly bookkeeper now. All my finances are on QuickBooks and Quick and Personal. I can really just print out a financial statement. It's no real trick. It's all done online, so it's all ready to go. How important is it, do you think, for people to be prepared and run their businesses and their finances in an organized way in order to be efficient with this, or is it just something you're going to buy a property once every 5 years? Don't worry about it.
Well, you're not going to buy it once a year or every 5 years. You're going to be buying a couple a year. So you want to be getting things in order. And if you're a new business, you might not have a bunch of organization. So, if you're new to this, you're going to go get your QR code because, business cards are old now, right? You're going to get your website, and then maybe you're not going to get your website because that's old too. You're going to do things on Zoom, on Facebook and LinkedIn, right? And Instagram, and you're going to start having a presence there. And maybe you don't have a bunch of money that you've dumped into this business, but you've got some money set aside from other real estate adventures, and you're going to be learning. Get involved in a education program. You can get educated for free, but just like things are free, are you going to be motivated if it's free? Maybe not. But if you have paid maybe 20 or 30,000, you're going to have a little fire under your tush to get going. And there's mentors out there that will help you become successful in this business.
So that's a good question. You don't play that role, I don't think, individually, right? You don't have a coaching program or a mentorship program. It's your business. I think that you're helping people as a lender. Do you see those as being productive? And if so, can you
Absolutely.
recommend
I
a couple
do.
places that people who are newer would go to find suitable?
Yeah. Bill, here's the thing. Everybody has different things that resonate with them, right? So you have to find a group that resonates with you. If you want to figure out that I'm only an investor and I just need to figure out how to underwrite deals, you could go to the Michael Blanc education program, and they will give you a lot of information on how to underwrite the deals by looking at a T12 and a rent roll. That may be all you need. Maybe you're looking for, how do I capital raise? Well, then you might go to Hunter Thompson. He's written a book. He has a program. He has a conference that you can go to. Another great program. It just depends on what resonates with you. I mean, there's Michael Blanc. There's, as I mentioned, there's Brad Sumrock. He's in Dallas. There's Ari Mentor. He's on the East Coast. There's Jake and Geno's, who's on the East Coast. So it depends on where you're located, what kind of people. Do you like, lots of energy, or do you like somebody to sit down and show you the ropes? And you can test drive these people. Rod Khalif is another one. He does a lot of mindset. If you're into mindset, that's another way to go. But you can test drive these programs through conferences. So I do a lot of conferences so I can pick up new people and help carry them along their journey to getting into multifamily.
And I think on your podcast, you also have a number of these people come through and you talk to them and people have a chance to watch them. There's a good place to start as well. We talked about that already. Zoom at 8 being a great place to go to kind of watch people behind the scenes. Tell us a little bit about, I don't see any questions. I'm going to keep asking you questions just because
Okay.
I enjoy what I can do myself. Tell me a little bit about the business of Julianne's business, Old Capital. I know that you have the Zoom at 8 as a focus of your business development. Is that the center of it? And kind of what does that look like? How do you, I know you've been around for a while, you have a deep, loyal following already, but you're also out looking for new business. Kind of what's your philosophy and how are you doing your business development today?
Yeah, a lot of my business development comes through Zoom at 8, as well as going to these conferences, right? So I'm at 4, 5, 6 conferences. In fact, there's a conference coming up in Dallas for Old Capital coming up September 14th and 15th.
Whoa. Okay.
Yes, that's
Okay.
next week, my friends, next week. And this conference is a lot different than what you'd find in an educational program conference. This is going to have investors who have done deals, who are looking for deals, who are looking for relationships. Okay. We're not going to go and tell you how to invest in, our education program, but rather, hey, look at this panel. These folks have been doing business in multifamily for 30 or 40 years. We call them the rocking chair panel. There you go. The rocking chair panel has been doing it for 30 years. They've been through a lot of pivoting. And so here's some speakers. We've got asset managers. We've got brokers. We've got property managers, investors. We've got Ricky is a lender. Fritz is a lender, broker. So we've got a lot of people that can help you understand. They're not going to hold your hand, but they're going to give you the opportunity to potentially invest with them, or they're going to, maybe they've got an opportunity that they're looking for an underwriter, or they're looking for a property manager. Whatever it is, there's so many different assets, and you can find them at the Old Capital Conference.
I just thought the whole company was all about you. I didn't realize there's other people who work there.
Oh yeah, Old Capital's been around for 36 years. We've closed so far over 6,500 loans. This is a big organization. We are brokers. Okay. So you say, oh, but in single family, I work my brokers. I call 10 of them and I work them for 1/4 or 1/8%, and then I give them the business. And here's the thing, in multifamily, it's a relationship. Because who I know, I might be able to get you in front of a broker who has a deal that is perfect for you. And if they know that Julie is going to close the deal, that broker might say, I know Old Capital, and Old Capital has always done me right. They always close deals. I'm going to give them the opportunity and their client the opportunity. So when you're working in multifamily, it's very different. And don't, if somebody calls me and says, oh yeah, I put it out to 5 different brokers like you did in single family, I'll say I'm out.
Yeah.
Because honestly, we're all there's only 25 DUS lenders. DUS is delegated underwriting and servicers. They are like the distributor of Fannie and Freddie product. So there's 25 of them, and I go to one of the 25 when I'm quoting your deal. So if you make a whole bunch of calls, we're all going to the same place. And that's why we say, I'm out, because we want to have a relationship with you. And remember, this is a business. We're providing a business, we're providing an opportunity, we're providing the relationship maybe to the seller, and we're going to be competitive. But sometimes these brokers or lenders will say, hey, I can get that for you. Julie can only get you 65, but I can get you 75. It's like, well, wait a minute, we're all going to the same place. How can they get 75 and I can only get 65? They're trying to buy your business. And here's the deal. Walk with me on this, people. You have told your clients, you've told your investors, hey, I've got this deal. I'm going to get 75% loan to value, and you're going to get a certain amount of shares. And then we're almost to close, and that lender says, oh, by the way, I can't get you 75. I know I said I could, but I can only get you 65, just like Julie said she could. And now you have to go back to your investors and say, oh, I told you that share, that 100,000 was going to be worth this amount of shares. It's now diluted because I got to bring in more money.
Right.
That's a bad place to be. And that's why you build the relationships with brokers, because you don't want to be put in that situation. That's very valuable information.
Very. And I think the other way I would explain the same thing is, how much, risk tolerance or liability do you have? If you were to think about like a limbo bar, everybody can get under 6 feet, let's say, and you lower it to 5 feet.
Yeah.
And it gets lowered to 4 feet, and someone says, well, I can make it. And if you pick him as your lender, as long as he makes it, it's okay. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. When you're a long-established business like Old Capital with reputation, you have to have a stronger tolerance towards risk aversion. When you're a broker that literally changes their name, that's what I always found as a real estate broker, that the mortgage lender, if there's just a broker, who is he or she? Because the company name, they change them all the time, and they make a bunch of bad deals. They just reform a new LLC or a new corporation, and they're back in business. Nobody knows the better. Whereas Old Capital, you guys have had a reputation, and I know it for a while, and what you guys do as a player in the industry will continue for good or for bad, and it's been for good so far. So,
yeah,
good for you. Okay, I don't see any hands up. Any last call for questions? Here's your chance.
Jack, what's going on?
Jack's busy with his Apple product collection.
I had the ceiling in my dining room collapse at 4:15 on Sunday morning, so I'm a little distracted.
Oh, there's that. The pictures. If you know Jack, was that on Facebook? You put that?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you know Jack Lapidus, go to Facebook and take a look. In fact, I'll jump. With your permission, Jack, I'll go ahead and put it up.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't want to hijack this though.
So how did that happen, Jack?
It just so happened to be right below the HVAC unit. So we think that the drainage pan, because the air conditioning's been going nonstop, and we think that the air conditioning drain pan, the drain line got clogged, and so it overflowed, and eventually it just gave way.
That's in your house?
That's our dining room, yeah.
And which chair do you sit at normally? Just so we can...
the other end, which is actually, it was funny because we were talking about that as well. It's like, who normally sits there when we have family over? Yeah,
Wow.
and that chair at the end there, the seat pad is kind of ruined, and in fact, the right arm
Kind of ruined.
handle rest got all scratched up. I mean, it was a seriously loud thud
Wow.
when all that came down.
Well, my insurance might have to buy you a new chair.
Yeah, we'll see.
And
Well,
so when the sound went off, what do you think happened?
Okay, so we have in our hallway, there's a cutout panel. It's about 3x3, more like 2x2, and it goes to the back of our bathtub, and it's not like locked in or anything. And once every few years, the air pressure will change, and that thing will fall over onto the hardwood floor. And that's the very first thing that went through my head for about a split second. I said, no, this was much louder than that. And so then I got up and grabbed my flashlight and went down the hall and opened the door to the hallway, which opens right to the dining room. And I was like, holy crap. I couldn't believe it. You don't expect it. It's 4:15 in the morning, so your brain is like 40 seconds behind your body. And so I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. And then I'm like, okay, well, the first thing I have to do is put some shoes on, because I have no idea what just fell on the ground. So I had to go grab some shoes, and my wife and our teenage son, we're all kind of like staring around going, okay, so now what? So I called the insurance company. Serpro was out by 7 a.m. and by 9 or 10 a.m. it was mostly cleaned up, and they put tape up and all this kind of stuff. Of course, it happened on a long weekend, so it wasn't until this morning that I really got to talk to the insurance adjuster and stuff. But yeah, it was a pretty amazing thing. And someone pointed out to me that I also, if you were friends with me a year or two ago, I had a small electrical fire in my house as well. So I'm thinking of moving.
Somebody wants you out. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Take it personal. That's what's well, that's real estate though, right? It's always something. Our air conditioner's been running full time too. So we had preventative maintenance. We had a guy come out here, and of course there's about $800 worth of stuff to do. The condenser, this piece of equipment, blah, blah, blah. Fine, whatever. Write the check, get it done. No air conditioning for the afternoon on Thursday. It's hot as balls, I think is the official technical term that Julianne gave us. And of course, it hasn't been working properly since. So everything was fine. And here we are now with a spotty air conditioning service.
So another quick funny thing is I texted my family about it. My brother said, oh, you should call the landlord. And I said, she's the one who woke me up.
There you go. Well, I feel bad for you. That's really a horrible thing to go through. Where I live,
could have been a lot worse.
We don't have air conditioning. So maybe I should think about not getting it so I don't have to go through that.
Now you live in San Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting in the South Bay. I think that for FHA requirements, a house has to have heating.
Yes.
Does not have to have air conditioning by definition to be habitable. And heating can be a fireplace. And so the people have fireplaces they never used. You live by the beach, maybe one day every 10 years, you would want to turn the heat on, and the air conditioning is opening the windows, and it's usually not that bad. So,
my family lives in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it's like in the hundreds in Daly City or San Mateo, and my sister is in Belmont. She's sitting with her feet in a bucket of ice because they don't have air conditioning. Most of the houses there don't really have air conditioning, especially not in the city, and they're over 100 in the city.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're lucky to have on the call Melissa Yaloa, who's with a real life property manager. So if you have rental properties, instead of getting those phone calls, you get to delegate them to her along with all the other work. But she also has a whole team of people that fix stuff. So if you need a referral, Jack, for rebuilding, you might want to check out with her and see if she can help you with a good qualified vendor rather than.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, she's
as long as if the insurance company wants to pay for everything, I'm more than happy to shop around and give my business to somebody else, and without any concern for price for me. It's just a matter if I have to get into a fight with the insurance company about paying for stuff, that's going to be a different story.
We had a nice property on Mindanao in Marina del Rey, and the tenants went on vacation to Europe for 2 weeks. They had a bidet, off-market bidet. It flooded the unit. And so insurance came in and gave him $100,000 after you did the remediation work, which destroyed everything because it was on the second level. So it just went straight down into the kitchen and to all the living room.
I have a question.
Over that.
Hello. Hi, my name is Preston. So I'm actually trying to like find investors that are,
Okay, well, hold on one second. Hold on.
Hold
Verbo. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so yeah, that's not really what we want. There's a punchline at the end of that question. We're not going to hear it today. I've learned how to figure these out along the way.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
So nothing personal, and but we're gonna not.
So two things. One, is this session recorded, Bill?
Yes.
Okay. So Lupe, we're good to go. You should be able to find that. Bill, where will you post that?
It's live stream on YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
If you registered for it through Eventbrite, you'll get a link via email. And I put a copy. Lupe asked for it, and I actually sent her a copy directly. But I'll put a link in the chat box to YouTube. It won't start until
perfect.
We'll pick up live, and then you can recycle it when you see the beginning.
Awesome. Now, Angela, I know some folks in
YouTube. It won't start until
perfect.
Pick up live, and then you can recycle it. Okay, we got that.
There we go. Angela, I know some of the commercial brokers in Carlsbad. Jeff Turchin, I don't know if you know him, but he's with KW as well. He comes, if you're in San Diego.
So I know Jeff.
Do you know Jeff?
From the Del Mar and from Carlsbad, but my office is in Orange County, my home office, but I work out of all of them, really.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he's a good friend of mine. And,
nice.
He comes to I do a meetup here in San Diego on the last Thursday of every month, and he'll come to them. So, if that's something you're interested in and finding deals or finding investors,
Sure.
So
I know him through the organization, and he's come to our exchange meetings. So, but yeah, I'm with the National Exchange Group too. So I'm very interested in that. I gave you my contact.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Last question, because we're kind of up against time. I just have to ask this question, Julian.
Yeah.
You're in San Diego. You're in Pacific time zone. I'm forever quoting time zones because I deal with people across the country. I put a link in the chat box to her call, which is going to start in about an hour and 2 minutes. Zoom at 8 is really 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Why don't you call it Zoom at 5 p.m. Pacific time? Or why?
Well, why didn't I do it? Because
you live here, and I'll go back and say, well, it's not because you're born in New York, because you're born in Chicago. So it's not even that.
I'm
so
all
what is
messed
it?
Up. Well, Zoom at 8 is great. So that's one thing. But because here's the thing. We started this for Michael Blanc, and Michael Blanc is on the East Coast.
There you go.
And it was 8 o'clock back over on the East Coast, and we thought, we'll just keep it that way. It worked out pretty good. It actually, we don't run into any holidays. Tuesday's been great for that. And it's late enough so that the kids can be put to bed and you can really focus on getting things done. Of course, on the mountain time, we don't get that many from mountain time, but it's nationwide. So
it really is nationwide. I'm we're gonna let you off because I know you got to get ready for that in less than an hour. So for those of you, thank you so much, Jen. Thank you on behalf of everybody for your participation, for sharing, and then for what you do every week on Zoom at 8. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. It's a great place to start, and wish you continued success at Old Capital. And if you happen to be in Dallas or want to go to Dallas, I was just there last week. Love Dallas. Great place to visit. Check out their Old Capital conference in Dallas next week. Thank you so much, Julianne.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks. Appreciate everybody.
And for the rest of you, just a reminder that next week we have our LARIC event. It's a free event we do next week. This week, Thursday, we have Thursday at the LARIC Expo starts around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then we have the speaker at 6:30. It's free. It's the Culver City area on Motor Avenue, just south of the 10 freeway, north of, what is that? I guess that's National. LAREIC.com is the website. It's Los Angeles County Real Estate Investor Association, LLC. And I'm the official podcaster. I'll be there live streaming it. We get about 250 guests. We get about 50 people at the expo. At the expo, you meet about 50 people or so who are professionals, different vendors, lenders, coaches, inspection companies, people who I've literally used in the last year and made money because they were there and I learned and met them and vetted them. And then at 6:30 with the speaker, Kathy Fetke is fantastic. She and her husband specialize in helping people want to invest in real estate outside of Los Angeles or out-of-state properties, how to buy them. She is a real devotee and good friends of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And based on that, they built an amazing business, an amazing story. So hope we'll see you there. And then the Grand Expo is October 22nd on Saturday. I can't go to that for personal reasons, but it's a great event. And that is also free. We have to register ahead of time. So hope to see you guys. If you're there Thursday, I'm the official podcaster. Come up and say hi. We do this call every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. This is Zoom at 3 p.m. Pacific time and 6 p.m. So I want to copy her branding there. 6 p.m. Eastern time. You can catch us at LAProbate.com. And I'm Bill Gross. You can see me at Bill Gross EXP on social media. Call me, text me, email me if I can help you so much. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic week. We'll talk soon.
Cheers.